ब्रह्मनाथ ओ शांति 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 स्वस्थ।
Hello students, in the previous class we discussed about the transport of the oxygen. In the previous class we started our new long question, that is your transport of the respiratory gases, under which we will discuss or we can say we have discussed the transport of the oxygen, and today we will clearly discuss the transport of the carbon dioxide. So students, in the transport of the oxygen we have discussed that the oxygen is being transported by the two ways, mainly two ways. First one in the form of the physical solution, or we can say around 3% of the oxygen is being transported by the blood plasma, okay, or we can say 0.3 ml of oxygen for every 100 ml of blood plasma is being transported in the form of the physical solution. Whereas remaining 97 to 98% of oxygen is being transported by the help of the respiratory pigment that is present inside the RBC, that is known as the hemoglobin. Next we discussed the structure of the hemoglobin, how the porphyrin ring is being formed, the iron containing porphyrin ring is known as your heme, and the heme that binds with the globin peptide to form the hemoglobin. Okay, it is one monomer, and one true hemoglobin is made up of 4 subunits, okay, which consist of 4 we can say polypeptide chains, 2 alpha chain, 2 alpha polypeptide chain and 2 beta polypeptide chain. And also one hemoglobin molecule can carry up to 4 molecules of oxygen up to its perfect saturation, and that binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin molecule happens one after another, and that type of binding is known as your allosteric binding or the cooperative binding. Okay students. Next we discussed the dissociation of the we can say the oxygen, or we can say after the depending on the percentage of saturation the oxyhemoglobins are being formed, and oxyhemoglobin, as it is we can say a highly unstable compound, whenever it reaches to the tissue region where the partial pressure of oxygen is quite low, or we can say partial pressure of oxygen is low in the tissue region, what happens? It releases the oxygen as it is highly unstable, and after that the hemoglobin becomes free. Okay. Next we discussed on the basis of the dissociation the oxygen dissociation curve, which is the shape of the oxygen dissociation curve is somehow sigmoid shape, or we can say S shaped curve. Okay. Today students, so this much we have discussed in our previous class. Today students we will discuss how the carbon dioxide is being we can say transported. So before going to the concept, let us have an introduction portion how the carbon dioxide is being released. See, up to oxyhemoglobin we have discussed, means this one is we can say the oxyhemoglobin. Okay. Further, the oxyhemoglobin, it comes nearer to the tissue and dissociates. Okay. What happens? It comes near to the tissue and it dissociates. What it will form or dissociate? It will dissociate to form the free oxygen and the hemoglobin Okay. Whenever the oxyhemoglobin reaches near the tissue, as it is being highly unstable and the partial pressure of oxygen is quite low, it releases the oxygen, by which the oxygen becomes free and the hemoglobin also becomes free. Okay. After that what happens? This free oxygen is being used by the cell, and this free oxygen inside the protoplasm oxidizes the food. inside the protoplasm oxidation of food takes place. Oxidation of food takes place. Okay. What happens in the, we can say, the protoplasm, oxidation of the food takes place, by which as a product or as a byproduct the CO2 is being liberated. What happens? As a byproduct, what happens? The CO2 is being liberated. The CO2 is being liberated. Okay. This CO2, by passing through the respiratory surface, and then through the lungs, and then finally through the lungs, or eventually we can say the lungs or the respiratory surface, almost same. So, by the CO2, or we can say by the passing through the respiratory surface and the lungs, finally the CO2 releases out. So, this one is we can say a basic idea, means how the carbon dioxide is being formed and it is being eliminated. We will read in detail how the carbon dioxide is being eliminated. So, what happens? The oxyhemoglobin, as we discussed, it is being formed, hemoglobin, when binds with the oxygen. It, when comes nearer to the tissue, dissociation takes place, by which it will dissociate into free oxygen and the hemoglobin. This free oxygen will be used up by the cell, in which inside the protoplasm oxidation of food takes place, by which as a byproduct the CO2 will be liberated or released, and this CO2, by passing through the respiratory surface and the eventually we can say the lungs, it releases to the outside of the body or the outer environment. Okay. So, this much for your introduction portion, how the eventually the transport of the carbon dioxide in naturally it comes into act, or we can say how the generally the carbon dioxide liberated out of the body. Okay. Please note down. Now, students, we will discuss on which basis the CO2 or the carbon dioxide is being transported. So, till now we discussed the introduction portion, how the carbon dioxide is being eliminated, or we can say produced as a byproduct from the oxidation of food. Always remember, after the carbon dioxide is being liberated as the byproduct, it enters into the venous blood. Always remember, students, in the veins the deoxygenated blood is flowing or flows generally, means we can say the impure blood. Okay. And the oxygenated blood always flow in the artery. So, as we can say the CO2, that is we can say it will be eliminated out. So, what happens? That CO2, after we can say as performed as the byproduct, what happens? It immediately enters into the venous blood. Okay. Then after, through the help of the respiratory surface, finally through the alveoli of the lungs, what happens? It is being released to outside of the body. So, as we discussed in the oxygen, the transport of the oxygen takes place through the physical solution also, and then through the by the help of the hemoglobin. So, in this case also, first the oxygen, the carbon dioxide is being transported by the help of we can say in the form of the physical solution. What happens? When the carbon dioxide, okay, from the tissue fluid enters into the blood, what happens? In the blood, as there is water, it combines with water to form the carbonic acid, and this by this process around 5% of CO2 is being eliminated. So, we can write the CO2 or the CO2 combines with water to form carbonic acid. Okay. Equation we can write CO2 plus H2O gives rise to H2CO3, or we can say carbonic acid. Okay. And around 5% of total CO2 is being eliminated, or we can say carried out in this form. So we can write next point, about 5% of CO2 is carried out in this form. Easy, students. Next point. What happens? How the transport of CO2 takes place as the carb amino compound. What happens when the CO2 or the carbon dioxide combines with the amino group of the hemoglobin? Students, why I am telling amino group? Because see, amino group, why I am telling? Because the reason behind it is hemoglobin, it is, we can say it is a protein, or we can say polypeptide chain. Always remember, a polypeptide chain should have one amino group and one, or the other end it should have the carboxyl group. So what I am telling, this carbon dioxide combines with the amino group of the hemoglobin to form the carb amino hemoglobin, and in this form around 10% of carbon dioxide is being carried out. So we can write our next point. Carbon dioxide combines with amino group of hemoglobin to form carb amino hemoglobin. Okay, carb amino hemoglobin. Okay, equation we can write CO2 plus Hb NH2. Okay, we will find the Hb NH COOH. This one is, or we can say carb amino hemoglobin. Carb amino hemoglobin. Okay. And students, around 10% of carbon dioxide is carried out in this form. About 10% of CO2 is carried out in this form. Okay. So what we have studied till now, basically the main one will about to come. Okay, the transport of CO2 firstly in the physical solution, as the CO2 combines. First, what happens? The CO2, what happens? It enters into the blood where the water is present. It combines with the water. From where it comes? From the tissue fluid. It enters into the blood. In the blood, obviously water is there. Okay, it is the water content should be present. When the CO2 combines with the water, it forms the carbonic acid, or we can say H2CO3, and in this form around 5% of the CO2 is being eliminated, or we can say carried out in this form. Next, the CO2 is being transported as in the form of carb amino hemoglobin or carb amino compound. What happens? The carbon dioxide first combines with the amino group of the hemoglobin. Once more I am telling you, amino group means what? Amino group means, obviously hemoglobin is a, we can say a protein, or we can say a polypeptide chain. Okay, a polypeptide means it should have one carboxyl end and one amino end. Similarly, the carbon dioxide when combines with the amino group of the hemoglobin, then carb amino compound or hemoglobin is formed. When the CO2 combines with amino group of hemoglobin, two forms, the CO2 combines with amino group of hemoglobin to form the carb amino hemoglobin. The equation is CO2 plus Hb means hemoglobin, NH2 means the amino group, okay, to form the HbNHCOOH, means carb amino hemoglobin, and by this around 10% of CO2 is being carried out in this form, or we can say around 10% of CO2 is being carried out by the form of the carb amino hemoglobin. Okay students, please note down. Now students, we will discuss the transport of CO2 as the bicarbonate. We discussed in the physical solution the 5% of carbon dioxide is being carried out. Next, in the carb amino hemoglobin form, 10% of the carbon dioxide is being carried out. Next, remaining the major portion, that is the 85% of the carbon dioxide is being eliminated or carried out by the help of, we can say, in the form of the bicarbonates. Okay students, so before going to understand how in the bicarbonate the form the carbon dioxide is being eliminated and also in your material has been given so many several points, I will make you understand in a complete easy way. Just you remember this box or this diagram, you can write it accordingly on your own. How you will write? I will tell you. See, obviously this one is the tissue region, this one is the tissue fluid region, this one is the complete blood. Okay, see. In the tissue, what happens? The oxyhemoglobin first comes. In the tissue region, as the partial pressure of the oxygen is very low, what happens? The oxyhemoglobin releases the oxygen, where in the protoplasm the oxidation of food takes place and the carbon dioxide is being eliminated, or we can say is being produced as a byproduct. This much we studied. Next, what it will happen? From the tissue, the carbon dioxide will go to the tissue fluid, then it will come to the blood. Okay, this much you know. What happens? See, in the blood, students, see, I have done a blue color portion and the red color portion. Red color portion is your complete, we can say, the blood portion, in which the cellular part, or we can say the RBC portion is there. You know, as we have studied in your previous class, in the blood, if we will separate all the cellular component, which liquid portion which it will remain, that is nothing but your blood plasma. Okay students, here blood plasma and the RBC plays the major role. See what happens. As the CO2 enters into the blood, okay, in the blood plasma, sodium chloride is present, which is being dissociated to form the sodium and the chlorine ion. Simple. Next, what happens? You see, in the RBC, okay, obviously water content is present. Whenever this CO2 from the blood plasma, remember what I am saying you, the CO2 from the blood plasma enters into the RBC, what happens? The CO2 combines with the water in the presence of the enzyme called the carbonic anhydrase. What? Carbonic anhydrase, to form the carbonic acid or H2CO3. Okay. Next, further this carbonic or we can say this carbonic acid dissociates to form the hydrogen ion and the bicarbonate ion. Okay, this much you have understood. Next, what happens? See, this bicarbonate ions is being released to outside, or we can say it passes from the blood or from the RBC to the plasma. Okay. Next, what happens? As more amount of bicarbonate ions are being carried out, or we can say eliminated from the RBC, and it comes to the plasma level, obviously the electrical conductive, or we can say electrically neutrality, or we can say the ionic balance of the RBC should be hampered, or we can say the imbalance should be happens of the ionic balance. So what happens? As much amount of bicarbonate ion will come out, that much amount of chlorine will go through by one channel. Okay. This one is known as your Hamburger's phenomenon or the chloride shift. Why this happen? To maintain the ionic balance of the plasma and the RBC both. Okay. Next, what happens? See, in the RBC, obviously, before we have this point we have discussed that the CO2 which combines with the with the amino group of the hemoglobin to form the carb amino hemoglobin. This point we have discussed. Okay. Next, what happens in the RBC? The potassium is present. Okay. What happens? Some bicarbonate ions combine with the potassium to form the potassium bicarbonate or KHCO3. Some potassium combines with the chlorine that goes to inside from the plasma to the RBC, which combines to form the potassium chloride. You can ask one thing that why the chlorine is going inside but sodium is not going inside, because obviously the plasma having the sodium chloride which dissociated into sodium and chlorine. But why only chlorine goes in but sodium can't go in? And also why the bicarbonate ion is coming outside from the RBC to the plasma? Okay, but why the potassium is not coming from the RBC to the plasma? Because this membrane of the RBC that you are seeing, it is being impermeable for sodium and potassium. That is why sodium can't cross this membrane or potassium can't cross this membrane. That is why sodium can't go inside, potassium can't come outside. Okay, concept is clear. Okay, so by this form we can say, by the bicarbonate ion form, around we can say 85% of the carbon dioxide is being carried out. Okay, so if you will remember this whole diagram or chart, you can write accordingly of your own. Okay, you need not to have the by heart the various points. Okay, so let's write down the first point about 85% of CO2 is carried out in this form. First point, general point. Next point, in RBC what happens we will see. Next, in the plasma what we will see what it is going to happen. So in RBC what happens? See, the carbon dioxide from the plasma enters into the RBC, by which the carbon dioxide combines with water in presence of carbonic anhydrase to form the H2CO3, which will further dissociates to form the hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion. So when carbon dioxide enters into RBC from plasma, what happens? The CO2 combines with water in presence. This one is a reversible process, that is why I am written like this. Okay, in presence of carbonic anhydrase, what happens? Carbonic acid is being formed, or we can say H2CO3, carbonic acid is being formed. Further, this carbonic acid dissociates. This carbonic acid dissociates, okay, to form the H plus ion, means hydrogen, plus the HCO3, means what? The bicarbonate ion. This one is your bicarbonate ion. This much you have clear. Next, what happens? Next, some steps see. Some bicarbonate ion combines with the potassium to form the potassium bicarbonate, and some potassium combines with chlorine to form the potassium chloride. What happens? Bicarbonate ion, okay, combines with the potassium to form the potassium bicarbonate. Potassium bicarbonate. Okay. whereas some we can say potassium combines with the chlorine to form the potassium chloride. Potassium chloride. Okay, remember. So in the RBC what we are going to see or what happens? So in the RBC first the CO2 from the plasma enters into the RBC, in which it combines with water in presence of carbonic anhydrase to form the carbonic acid. Carbonic acid dissociates to form the hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion. Okay, some bicarbonate ion in the RBC I am telling combines with the potassium to form the KHCO3. Okay, whereas some potassium combines with the chlorine to form the potassium chloride. Understood, students? So next in plasma what it happens? See, in plasma. Lastly, I will tell you the Hamburger's phenomenon. Okay, or we can say firstly we will discuss the Hamburger's phenomenon. Okay. Next, we'll discuss the Hamburger's phenomenon. Okay. As I have said you, what is Hamburger's phenomenon? Whenever large amount of the bicarbonate ion enters into the plasma from the RBC, it disturbs the electrical neutrality of the RBC and even if the blood plasma. So in order to maintain the ionic balance, what happens? The same amount of chlorine gets entered into the RBC from the blood plasma. This phenomenon is known as the Hamburger's phenomenon or the chloride shift. Okay, let's write down this. When large amount of HCO3 means bicarbonate ion. Bicarbonate ions gets entered into the this one blood plasma, into the plasma from the RBC, it disturbs the electrical neutrality of RBC. Okay, in order to maintain the ionic balance of both, means the plasma and the RBC, balance of both, same amount of chlorine will enter into the RBC from the plasma. Same amount of Cl minus or chlorine I am writing, chlorine will enter, or we can say enters into the where? RBC, into the RBC. For your betterment I am writing the whole concept, from plasma. Okay, so in order to maintain the ionic balance of both, same amount of chlorine enters into the RBC from the plasma. This phenomenon is known as Hamburger's phenomenon or the chloride shift. This phenomenon is known as Hamburger's phenomenon or chloride shift. As the chlorine is being shifted from the plasma to the RBC, chloride shift. Okay, and lastly one point only, what happens in the plasma, the the sodium that is present, obviously chlorine is getting to inside, the sodium that is present, what happens, the sodium combines with the bicarbonate ion to form the sodium bicarbonate. Lastly, this one is where in your RBC, this one is your, we can say, in plasma, what happens, the sodium combines with the bicarbonate ion to form sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so we can say in the form of the bicarbonate, a complete, we can say 85% of CO2 is being carried out in this form. Okay students, so this one is an easy concept, just remember this one, you can write the whole process. Okay, another time I am telling you, please carefully listen, see what happens. From the tissue, CO2 is being eliminated. Okay, it enters into the tissue fluid, it enters into the blood having the cellular part or the RBC and the plasma, okay, the liquid part. What happens, next point, whenever it enters into the from the plasma of CO2 plasma, it enters into the RBC, the carbon dioxide combines with the water in the presence of carbonic anhydrase to form the carbonic acid. This carbonic acid further dissociates to form the hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion. Bicarbonate ion gets out from the RBC to the plasma. Okay, but by which what happens? It disturbs the electrical neutrality of the RBC, even if after plasma too. Further, to maintain the ionic balance, the chlorine which is present inside the plasma, from where the chlorine is came, the sodium chloride that is present inside the plasma dissociates into sodium and chlorine. This chlorine enters into the RBC, means as much amount of bicarbonate ion will comes out, that much amount of chlorine will go in to maintain the ionic balance. Okay, whenever the bicarbonate comes out to the plasma from the RBC, sodium combines with the bicarbonate to form the sodium bicarbonate. Okay, similarly, some bicarbonate with the potassium which is present inside the RBC, some bicarbonate combines with the potassium to form the potassium bicarbonate. Some potassium combines with the chlorine to form the potassium chloride. Okay, and this exchange of, we can say, the bicarbonate ion and the chlorine is being exchanged in the place of the bicarbonate. This is known as, we can say, the Hamburger's phenomenon or the chloride shift. Okay students, why this was happened? What is the importance of the Hamburger's phenomenon? Because to maintain the ionic balance of the RBC and the plasma. Because if the bicarbonate ion will come out, obviously the ionic balance will be imbalanced. That is why as much amount of bicarbonate ion comes out of the RBC to the plasma, that much amount of chlorine goes inside the RBC from the blood plasma. Okay, so this effect or this phenomenon is known as the Hamburger's phenomenon, or we can say the chloride shift. And it is one of your important question, the Hamburger's phenomenon. Okay, so this much we have read, means the transport of CO2 as the form of the how the CO2 is being transported as in the form of the bicarbonate, and the percentage is measured, that is your 85%. And we discussed in the RBC level and also in the plasma level. Okay, please note down. Next students, we will discuss that some negligible amount of carbon dioxide are also eliminated in the form of, we can say, the phosphate buffer, or we can say the plasma protein also. So what happens in the case of the phosphate buffer? What happens? The sodium hydrogen, or we can say the disodium hydrogen phosphate, that is, or we can say the Na2HPO4 plus HCO3. What happens? The disodium hydrogen phosphate, when it combines with the bicarbonate ion, Why it forms? The sodium bicarbonate is formed and the sodium dihydrogen phosphate is being formed. So, in this manner also we can say some amount of or negligible amount of carbon dioxide is being eliminated. What happens next? In the form of the plasma protein. The plasma protein are simply, we can say it is known as the NAPR, or we can say the sodium protein. So, what happens? The sodium protein, or we can say firstly we can write the carbonic acid or H2CO3 is being dissociated to form the hydrogen ion and the HCO3, or we can say the bicarbonate ion. This sodium protein, or we can say the protein which is present inside the plasma, is known as the plasma protein or the sodium protein. It combines with the dissociated form such as the hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion, such as the sodium, the hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion. This one is, we can say, the sodium protein. Sodium protein. It combines to form the sodium bicarbonate and the proteinic acid. Sodium bicarbonate means NaCO3 plus the proteinic acid, that is called the HPR, that is the proteinic acid. So, in this form also means we can say by the help of the plasma protein also some amount or negligible amount of carbon dioxide is being eliminated, okay, in the form of the sodium bicarbonate. So, what we have studied in the case of the phosphate buffer also, the disodium hydrogen phosphate or the Na2HPO4 when combined with the bicarbonate ion, what happens? What happens? Sodium bicarbonate and sodium dihydrogen phosphate is being formed. Okay. Next also means it is liberated as a phosphate buffer. In this case also sodium bicarbonate is being eliminated. In this case also the sodium bicarbonate. This one also you know, the sodium bicarbonate. Okay. This one is being eliminated as a case of the phosphate buffer, and in this case it is being eliminated by the help of the plasma protein. Okay. So, by the help of the phosphate buffer and also plasma protein, some negligible amount of carbon dioxide is being eliminated. So, students, as we have discussed that various forms has been liberated. What? First one in the form of the, we can say, the carb amino hemoglobin. Okay. Okay. Next also by the help of the, we can say, the carbonic acid, and also third one the sodium bicarbonate. See, the carbonic acid, the percentage is around, we can say, the 5%. Carb amino hemoglobin, the percentage is around 10%. The sodium bicarbonate, or we can say the bicarbonate form, it is around 85%. So, these all forms in which the carbon dioxide is will be eliminated means first one the carbonic acid, second one the amino hemoglobin, and third one the bicarbonate. 5, 10, 85 means total 100%. The way by which the carbon dioxide will be eliminated first enters into the lungs, where in the lungs the breakdown of these compound takes place. What happens? In the by the help of the various suitable means the conditions. Okay, what happens? We can say the carbonic acid or the H2CO3 in the presence of the carbonic anhydrase, it dissociates or breakdowns into water, and the carbon dioxide is being eliminated. It cannot, students, liberate or we can say eliminated in this form. It should be breakdown into carbon dioxide, then only it should be eliminated. So, the carbonic acid in presence of the carbonic anhydrase, it will break down into water and the carbon dioxide, then carbon dioxide is being eliminated. That is why I have given the upper arrow mark, okay, in the arrow mark in the upward direction. Next, the bicarbonate form. What happens in the sodium bicarbonate? When the acidity of the hemoglobin increases, it dissociates into sodium carbonate. This one is a sodium bicarbonate, this one is a sodium carbonate, water is released, and similarly the CO2 is being eliminated. This elimination of CO2 is around, we can say, 85% around, because it is being released from the bicarbonate form. Lastly, the carb amino hemoglobin HbNH-COH, due to the increasing of the oxyhemoglobin. Why increasing of the oxyhemoglobin? As we know, in the case of the lungs region, the partial pressure of oxygen is high. That is why the increase of the oxyhemoglobin takes place or the formation of the oxyhemoglobin takes place. So, increasing of the oxyhemoglobin helps in dissociating the carb aminohemoglobin into, we can say, the amino group of the hemoglobin, and the carbon dioxide is being eliminated. Okay. So, in this way, three way, this one is around 5%, this one is around 10%, and this one is your major portion, that is your 85% of the carbon dioxide is being eliminated. Okay. So, this much we have studied firstly completely, as in the case of the firstly by the form of the carbonic acid, next by the form of the carb aminohemoglobin. Okay. Carbonic acid 5%, the carb aminohemoglobin 10%, remaining 85% of the carbon dioxide is carried out in the form of the bicarbonate ions or in the form of the bicarbonates, and some negligible amount of carbon dioxide are also being eliminated as in the form of the phosphate buffer and also by the plasma protein. And lastly, we discuss how the CO2 is being released from the lungs, or we can say the various forms such as your carbonic acid, carb aminohemoglobin, and the bicarbonates. These are how these are breakdown in presence of suitable environment by which the free CO2 is being produced and it is being eliminated. Okay, you can see here the CO2 is being formed and it is being eliminated. That is why I have given the upward direction. Okay, students, please note down. Now, students, we will discuss one of the important topic, that is what we can say the Haldane effect. Students, as we know, the hemoglobin has the affinity towards the oxygen also, towards the carbon dioxide also, but it depends upon the situation. Okay, so we can say the hemoglobin have the affinity towards O2 and CO2, both towards oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay. We will discuss in two levels, one in the case of the respiratory surface and in the case of tissue level. What happens in the respiratory surface, or we can say simply on the lungs level, respiratory surface, what happens? The partial pressure of oxygen is high and the partial pressure of CO2 is low. That is why the more number of, or we can say more amount of oxyhemoglobin is being formed. What happens here? The PO2 is high and the PCO2 is low. That is why more amount of oxyhemoglobin is formed. Okay. This one is what we can say in the respiratory surface or the lungs level, general we can say. In the tissue level, what happens? In the tissue level, as we know, the carbon dioxide amount is high. That is why the PCO2 is high, or we can say is accordingly we will write the PO2 is low, but the PCO2 is high. The PCO2 is high. So, here what happens? The carb aminohemoglobin is formed. Okay. So, here what happens? More amount of carb aminohemoglobin is formed. Okay. So, this adverse effect means what? If the O2 quantity is high, then we can say the oxyhemoglobin is being formed. If the PCO2 is high, then the carb aminohemoglobin is formed. This adverse effect is nothing but the Haldane effect. Although the hemoglobin have the higher affinity, affinity towards the both O2 and CO2, but it depends upon the situation. In the respiratory surface, simply the more oxyhemoglobin is formed. In the tissue level, more carb aminohemoglobin is being formed. So, students, today we have discussed completely the long question, that is the transport of the respiratory gases. In the previous class we discussed about the transport of the oxygen. Today we discuss completely about the transport of the carbon dioxide. In the transport of the carbon dioxide we discussed how in the various form the carbon dioxide are being carried out. Firstly, it is being carried out in the form of the, we can say, the carbonic acid, and the percentage is 5%. Next, it is being eliminated in the form of, or we can say, or it is being carried out in the form of the carb amino hemoglobin, and the percentage is 10%. Remaining 85% of the carbon dioxide is being carried out by the help of, or we can say, in the form of the bicarbonates. And very negligible amount of carbon dioxide are also eliminated as the plasma, or we can say the plasma protein or the phosphate buffer. Okay. Next, we discussed how in the lungs these three forms, the carb amino hemoglobin, the carbonic acid, okay, and the bicarbonates are being break down, and how the free CO2 or the free carbon dioxide is being produced and it is being eliminated. Okay. And lastly, we discussed the Haldane effect, means in the respiratory surface as the PO2 is high and the PCO2 is low, that is why more amount of oxyhemoglobin is formed. Whereas in the tissue level the PO2 is low, but the PCO2 or the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high. That is why the more amount of carb amino hemoglobin is being formed. This adverse effect is nothing but, we can say, the Haldane effect. Okay. So, students, today we discuss completely about the transport of the carbon dioxide. So, that is all for today. We will meet in our next class. Thank you.